Alright, so the 2009 G.I. Joe film that we got, Rise the Cobra, was pretty much a piece of. Now we have a new G.I. Joe film called G.I. Joe Retaliation with The Rock and Bruce Willis, and a couple of new Joes that are in the mix. Is it worth your money? Stay tuned and find out. So first off, I'm going to mention I did see this film in 3D, and I'm going to talk about that later on. But first, let me start off with the story of G.I. Joe Retaliation. Now, G.I. Joe Retaliation basically starts off with the Joes being sent on a mission to retrieve a nuclear weapon, and they're being sent there by the President of the United States, who's actually Zartan. Now, after they complete their mission, an airstrike is called in on them, and the airstrike pretty much wipes out all of the Joes, only leaving three behind. And those three are Roadblock, Lady J, and Flint. Now, after they get back and they're like, the three people are like, three survivors are actually like, you know what? Well, what happened? Who called in this airstrike? They find out that it actually was the president, who later on it is revealed to be Zartan. Or if you've seen the last movie, then you know that Zartan is the president. Now, after that scene, we focus more on Cobra, who's being held at the bottom of a military base by the government, and I'm not gonna go too much into spoilers or details, but Cobra does escape somehow. And there's one thing there that sort of puzzled me. Again, I'm not going to speak on that, but I was just left there like, did he really just do that? Did that really just happen? Oh, okay, let's roll it. Let's keep it going. Um, so yeah, Cobra escapes. The Joes are basically wiped out, and you're left with three Joes. And from there on, like I said, the Joes are basically trying to find out who did it, and act a lot of gunfights, car chases, explosions, and things happen, and it was pretty cool overall as far as the story go. There's a lot more that I wish I could speak about, but I don't want to make this a spoiler-filled review. Now, overall, the acting in the film was really good. I was really surprised to see that The Rock actually captured me as a character. And I was really actually more surprised that this film made it, that the film was actually something that made G.I. Joe fans become, so you could say it made us like the film more, because it felt more like a G.I. Joe film rather than that 2009 crap. Yeah, there were no high-tech suits or any of that stuff. This was a G.I. Joe film. There was a lot of fighting or hand-to-hand combat, especially dealing with Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. And I would like to say that mountain scene where they are actually fighting, where Snake Eyes and Lady Jinx are actually fighting the Red Ninjas on a mountain, was actually a really cool scene. That is one of the most memorable scenes in this film that I could walk away saying, I remember that shit. I enjoyed it. I loved it. The fighting, the choreography, the music that actually took place in that whole segment, I definitely enjoyed it. Now, one of the things that I would say was the negative, one of the main negatives of the film, was that Cobra. They went through all this trouble to get Cobra out of prison, but yet he was only in about three different scenes in the movie, and I felt that was a waste. You had this new Cobra, more menacing voice, sort of a more menacing presence. He had definitely had a menacing presence about himself, but he wasn't the main focus. It was more like Zartan was, and even though Zartan understandably was sort of the main focus of the film, I still felt that they should have added Cobra in, especially since they went through so much trouble of helping him escape. Another negative of the film, which really doesn't have anything to do with the film in particular, but it was the 3D. The 3D was pretty much a waste of time. I definitely wouldn't recommend that you go see this film in 3D, even though the 3D did work in some scenes. It really wasn't. It really didn't have the overall effect that I think that 3D should have. It just didn't work for me. Now, one more negative of the film would be that a lot of things were left open. And when I say open, I would have to go into specifics. And since I don't want to spoil much for you, I'm just going to say, like in the beginning, let me say, particular Joes looked like they died during the airstrike. But, it just was left too open. Like, we don't know if they really died. Yeah, you can say, like, yeah, that shit exploded right next to him. He's dead. But then again, you can say, well, they didn't show him die, and his body wasn't there, and there wasn't any funeral for this guy, so what happened? It was just a lot of things that were left open that I wish they would have closed up. But overall, I enjoyed the film. I would definitely give it a 4 out of 5 stars. The Rock did a real good job. Bruce Willis did a good job for the scenes that he was in. Nothing memorable from Bruce Willis, but definitely The Rock and Roadblock and Snake Eyes stood out as the main two characters that actually did something worth mentioning. Also, Zartan did something worth mentioning, and he was sort of a cool character. There were some laughable moments there. There was some comedy in here. But overall, The Rock and... I keep saying The Rock. Roadblock and Snake Eyes were the two most memorable characters in this film. So again, 4 out of 5 stars for me. Don't go for 3D. Go in with an open mind. I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy it. It has nothing to do with Part 1 except for the ending of Part 1. And Zartan is basically, the connection that this film only has with Part 1. Overall, great film. And again, 4 out of 5 for me. And this is Sean from NYC, New York Critics. Stay tuned for more reviews. And tomorrow I'll be back with the Evil Dead screening. So enjoy yourselves. Have a great day. And stay tuned for more reviews from NYC.